The Conjuring 2 lied to us, arguably more than The Conjuring, and I'm going to tell you all about it. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Scott, and today we're diving into part 2 of my deep dive into The Conjuring. This is the first 3 films, and we're going to be looking at what the movie told us versus what actually happened in these locations and what the Warrens' involvement was. So The Conjuring 2 is a tale of demonic possession and a paranormal haunting in a London suburb of Enfield. We've got flying furniture, we've got little girls levitating, we've got demons in the shadows, we've got a giant crooked man with a cane and a weird hat and mouth thing. He's bizarre. Now, what if I told you that all of it was fabrication? Like The Conjuring, the first one we done, some of it was elaborated massively. This one, it's a fictional story. However, they do love to stamp the based on true events of the case files of Ed and Lorraine Warren. I'm going to say it now. If this was taken straight from their case files lie. Like, not just a little bit, they outright lie. So let's get the record straight on here. The Enfield Haunting unfolded between 1977 and 1979. It was in a house that was owned by Peggy Hodgson and her 4 children. Now, it centres around Janet and Margaret, who were 11 and 13 at the time, and they had strange occurrences like furniture sliding across the floor, objects being thrown, unusual knocking sounds. They also had that real guttural voice that you hear in the movie, which is the "Get out of my chair." That guy.
My name is Bill Wilkins.
Like, he was allegedly the main spirit that haunted that home, and they actually have that audio on tape. They've caught that audio.
And I will tell you the law. And if you don't tell anyone else, the same throat and Mr. Playback.
Now, the primary investigators for this were the Society of Paranormal Research here in the UK. So Maurice Grosse was the lead investigator, and he was later joined by Guy Leon Playfair, and they spent months in this house, months, meticulously documenting events, recording audio, taking photographs, and if I'm honest, trying to debunk everything that they could, because this had hit national news. This was a huge news story here in the UK. It was on national television. It was literally everywhere. Now, Janet did exhibit that guttural voice, that "get out of my chair." And this is named from Bill Wilkins, is the spirit who haunted the house. Now, it was one of the most compelling aspects, but Maurice Grosse and Guy Leon Playfair both thought that this was put on. They thought it was a prank, a hoax.
You lie! You're lying! Liar! Lies! The filthy earth boy lies!
They didn't think it was authentic, and there's lots of things in this case that no one deemed were authentic, and they thought it was the children elaborating on what actually happened. So where do Ed and Lorraine Warren fit into this? Let's get into the elephant in the room, why we're here. So in the movie, they swoop in as the American demonologists who come to save the day. Christ's Avengers, here to expel the demon and free the family from the terror they're in, as the last hope, because they are the last line of defense against the worst ghosts of the universe.
We're your first, last, and only line of defense.
In reality, Ed and Lorraine Warren had almost negligible involvement in the Enfield Haunting investigation. So they made a brief, and I say brief when I mean a day visit to the Enfield house. Just a day. Now, when they got there, they took some photographs. They basically inserted themselves into the investigation. And the reason they came is because they'd seen this had made national news in the States, and they flew over because they wanted to be a part of it. They were widely unwanted. Both of the paranormal investigators said that they were not needed. They were saying that it was a publicity stunt and they were doing it for financial gain. Guy Leon Playfair actually had a conversation with Ed Warren, where Ed Warren was explaining that this sort of case could get him a book or movie deal. And they then went on to say that they solved the case. Now, in the movie, it ends with Lorraine Warren using her psychic abilities to identify the demon Valak and then expel the demon with those names. In reality, the demon nun Valak does not exist in the Enfield Haunting. That is completely conjured for the Conjuring. The Crooked Man, also complete cinematic make-believe. Like, they were just added to give the movie a central baddie. Now, beyond that, there is not anything else in this movie that's accurate. Like, Janet didn't get dragged across the room and possessed. Like, that didn't happen. There was apparently times that the girls had been pushed or shoved, or it even lifted slightly, but none of those were truly documented. Now, what The Conjuring 2 done is completely fabricated all of the events, and they led to this big final moment where the demon's expelled and the family live happily ever after. That's not what happened. So in reality, the haunting just died out. Like, over a period of 2 years, from 77 to 79, it got less and less and less and less and just disappeared, which leans heavily into it was the children making a lot of that up, because they were young at the time, 11 and 13. 2 years later, they're 13 and 15. They're starting to get friends and do other things, and I think they lost interest in fabricating these events. Now, I could be wrong. I could 100% be wrong, and this could be a true paranormal event. And if it is, that's horrific. I don't think it is, and most of the investigators who investigate this don't think it is. The only people who do is Ed and Lorraine Warren, and Ed and Lorraine Warren are the only ones who profited from that story by making The Conjuring 2. So, let me know what you think. Do you think Ed and Lorraine Warren are a pair of charlatans who are just were conning people out of their money? Do you like The Conjuring 2, despite the fact that it's all make-believe? How do you feel about them stamping based on true events on a movie that is clearly not even remotely based on true events? Let me know in the comments, and until next time, have a wonderful week. I'll see you soon.